warm welcome along to you. This is Chris Reardon, United Kingdom Talk. Bit of an email catch-up programme for you today, where they've really quite been building up over the Christmas period, and especially the last couple of shows, where I've been rabbiting on and on about what I've been doing. We haven't had time for the emails. My throat, I'm going to stick my neck out here. Stick my neck out. Do you get it? Throat, stick my neck out. Forget it. And say that it is a little bit better. A little bit better. Now, if you're listening to the last show, you'll know I went to the doctor and he gave me some, or she gave me some antibiotics for the this swollen gland I've got on the right hand side of my neck. It is still swollen. I can still feel it. However, I think it's a little bit better. Only a tiny bit. Sort of on a scale of 1 to 10, a quarter. That's not 2.5. A quarter of 1, I would say it's better. So I've got my fingers crossed that the antibiotics are starting to work. Now, I got it a bit wrong with those. I read the packet and it said take 2 pills 4 times a day before food. Okay, and that's really the only bit I read. When I spoke to my friend Richard, who's in London, he said, oh, that's unusual. Usually with antibiotics, you're supposed to take them on an empty stomach or well before food, and I sort of didn't think anything more of it. Anyway, after eight pills, so that's 4 lots, I thought, well, let's have another look at the packet, you know, after what Richard had said. And I read it again, and it says, take 2 tablets 4 times a day, at least 1 hour before food. And I thought, oh, of course, what I've been doing is having a couple of pills and then having something to eat straight away afterwards, because I assumed that you had to eat with the pills. But actually, you're supposed to take them on an empty stomach or about an hour before food. So really, I can't class those first 8 pills really were taken with food, so that's wrong. Maybe that's why it's taken such a long time for these things to work. Is it working now? I don't know. I mean, I've got to be honest, it's not as bad swallowing now that it has, say, a couple of days ago, so I've got my fingers crossed there. Because the most awful thing, and it's very difficult to eat as well. I mean, I should be grateful that it's not on both sides. You sort of, you know, you kind of move your neck into a position where it doesn't hurt so much. Very, very strange. So that's the situation with the old throat. I looked in my mouth, and I've still got a bit of a sore gum at the top there. And I'm not quite sure if I don't put my finger in my mouth. Yeah, there's a little bit of a soreness there, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if I should go to the dentist, back to the dentist, or what with that. Because could that be why the throat came up in the first place? I don't know. So that's the news there. And Joy in Acton, our listener of advanced years, aren't you, Joy? She rang me up the other day at home and was concerned, weren't you, Joy? So thank you very much for that, darling. All right. I wanted to just bring over another little Christmas gift that I forgot to mention. Now, this comes from a friend of mine called Naz, okay? He is one of the bingo players at West 5, where we have bingo at West 5 in Popes Lane, Ealing, every Tuesday at 9 o'clock if you want to come down. And he bought me, for Christmas, this little animal called a boogaz, okay? It's called a boogaz. It's a bit like a large, fat rabbit, really. I mean, it is. And he's also done a United Kingdom Talk. Well, it hasn't got the writing on it, but it's a Union Jack that is made out of like lots of little silver sparkly stuffs, and it's been made into like a badge thing, so that you could sew it on clothes or something like that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put that on I'll probably put that on the. Oh, I know where I can put that on top of. 1 minute. Put that there. There we are. Put that on top of. It's not straight, is it? 1 minute. Put that on top of Suko's little box that she sent me last year, with myself and the Queen and Suko in a room drinking tea. Oh yes, we are all on that level, you know. Yes, and also this little thing he's bought me. As I say, it's like a large fat rabbit, and it comes with a musical instrument. Okay? Now, apparently there are lots of these little boogaz. It's called a... Oh, no, hang on a minute. No, that's a different thing, isn't it? 1 minute. Oh, no, 1 minute. No, the boogaz is another gift. Oh, it's nothing to do with the with the toy. Oh, what's this? So I found something else in here. Face mask. Why has he put a face mask in there as well? This vitamin C mask is an excellent pre-treatment for any anti-aging treatment routine. How dare you put that in there as well? What is it? It sent me a face mask. I've never had a face mask on. What's it like? Can you open it? No, you can't open it. Let me see. Empty the... do you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to... Let me read this first. Empty the full contents of the powder into a mixing bowl and add 90 grams of... Oh, I can't be bothered with that, Naz. Bloomin' hell. I mean, it didn't... If it had come out of a bottle, I might have used it. I'm not mucking about mixing stuff in bowls and what have you. God almighty. What do you have to do? Stir quickly and vigorously for 1 minute until a creamy paste is formed. Apply immediately to the face and neck. I ain't putting that on. You make me out to be some sort of puff or something, dear. Don't you? Butch. Butch. That's me, excuse me. Anyway, thanks for the thought. I'll send it to my sister. She needs as many anti-aging products on her face as she can. I can hear Joy in Acton, actually. Joy in Acton, one of our elderly listeners. She's saying, can I have the face mask? Joy, my darling, he's only sent me the one packet, my love. Okay? I don't think it'll make... I mean, you might get rid of one of your wrinkles, but that's about it, darling. Okay? If you want... Joy, if you want your face anti-wrinkle, I'll give you the number of a very good cement company down the road that I'd be only too pleased to come round there and completely cover your face in cement. All right, Joy? Right, let's get back to this large fat rabbit. I don't know if it's got a name. Is there a name? It's got a little thing that says Wallace and Gromit on... Oh, it's a were-rabbit. There it is. It's a were-rabbit. And it's a big fat rabbit. And apparently, because he bought a few of these rabbits in the pub with him just before Christmas. And each one has attached to it. It's also put little... It does it all lovely. It's got little... you know the little things that you stick on like decorations? What are they called? Like ribbons made up into like flowers and things like that. He's stuck all these all over it. You do things so well now. You see, the trouble is when I give presents, they're not wrapped or anything. And my presentation skills when it comes to giving gifts and things like that are non-existent. They are. I mean, I'm not very artistic when it comes to that sort of thing. I mean, for example, behind me here in the Mirable studio, okay, those of you watching on YouTube, I'd love to have something on the, something behind me, but I haven't got a clue how to do all these things. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, he's covered it with these little sticky decorative ribbons, that sort of thing. Now, each rabbit comes with its own musical instruments. Yeah, and he bought about 4 down. He bought one for myself. I think there was one for another guy called John. And he bought Terry. There's a guy who works behind the bar called Terry. Oh, he didn't get just a rabbit. Oh, no. He had a whole box with loads of sparkly on it. And it was all beautifully decorated. Why? Because he fancies him. I mean, that's nice, isn't it? Just because he fancies Terry, okay, he got a better rabbit than all of us. It's a liberty. Actually, I've got to tell you, we got this boy Terry. He doesn't always work with me. I get on with him like a house on fire. Lovely, lovely kid, he really is. But he is very good looking, and everyone seems to fancy him in there, except me, because I kind of take the fatherly approach. You know what I mean? But everyone in there, everyone in this place, West 5, seems to fancy Terry, and he gets left presents. I can't believe it. People come in the pub while I'm working and leave presents for Terry. I get nothing, sweet nothing. What was it someone come in with the other day? Some sort of card or a gift? Or is Terry in today? No, he's not in today. Oh, could you give him that, please? God's sake, Nothing for me. I never had, even when I was younger, no one ever came in the pub and left me presents. It's not fair, is it? Mind you, you want to see the jealous look on their faces, because I gave him a lift home once. Apparently he'd had a bit of trouble with one of the minicab people. So this particular night he was working with me and I gave him a lift. I said, come on, I'll give you a lift home. He got in the car. All the jealous looks on their faces. Anyway, he got a great big rabbit. I'm sure it was bigger than mine. You know, in a presentation box and everything. All that Naz had made for him. Naz is a lovely bloke, actually. He doesn't watch all of these shows. He watch. Oh, excuse me. But he watches some of them, and he's a really nice bloke. Anyway, my musical, as I say, each rabbit came with a musical instrument. Mine has come with a triangle. Triangle. Now, how do I get it off? That's the thing. Which is kind of locked. Oh, here it is. Right, I've got my triangle. But usually a triangle, it has a little metal... Oh, how vile. Oh, my God. Look where the triangle thing is. They put it up his... Well, yeah, no. Oh, that's awful, isn't it? The triangle striker unit was situated up the poor rabbit's end. Yes. What an awful place to store it. Anyway, so there's my rabbit, and I have my triangle. Would you like me to play something for you on the triangle? What can I play on the... I don't know what I can... There's only got one note, isn't it? Let me listen. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it, eh? What I might do, next time I go and visit my sisters, is take this up to the bedroom with me, and then, if I ever want tea or something like that, I just go... Tea! And then hopefully my sister will come running up the stairs and give me a cup of tea. What do you reckon? Will that work? Would that work for you? I mean, if you were to move into my spare room here in the Mirable Studios and you heard... Would you then rush into the room and say, yes, Chris, what do you want? Or would you say, what does he want now? Huh? I don't know. If I was married or anything like that in my later years... I think, you know, and I become ill or something, perhaps, and had to stay in bed or whatever, I think I'd be one of those people that would be in the bedroom above the living room with a walking stick. And whenever have I got anything in here? I don't know, I've got anything in here. Oh, wow. And whenever I wanted anything, I'd just bang on the floor, you know. And then expect whoever is my other half to come up the stairs and bring me whatever I require. Oh, you do that already? Did someone, any of you lot do that? There is an email address to the show. Please feel free to join in. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris@unitedkingdomtalk... Who? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Well into 2009, aren't we now, eh? A few days have passed. The whole Christmas thing was 2 weeks ago. Where's it gone, eh? Right, let's do some emails then, because we've got a real stack to get through now. First of all, hello to Gerard Mina. I'm not quite sure where you are, Gerard, but he was just answering. We were talking about computer games a week or so ago now. He says he had the game Pong. You know the tennis game? Boop. 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 Boop, boop. When it went past the thing, didn't it? Yeah. So he had the tennis game Pong, and his favourite game was Asteroids. So thanks for that, Gerard. I never liked Asteroids. Don't know why. Very simple, wasn't it? It was just basically Asteroids was a computer game in the early 80s, I think early to mid 80s, sort of around that game time. And basically it was like a shape on a computer screen that turned slowly. And you had to fire at this shape at it was supposed to be a rock, you see, and it was turning slowly. And you would fire a laser thing at this rock. And then it would split up into more rocks. And then you'd have to fire the laser at the smaller rocks and destroy them. But if the rocks touched you, you were destroyed. So quite a fairly simple game. Not my favourite one. My favourite one, Gerard, was Galactians, as I was explaining on one of the previous shows. So thanks for that, Gerard. Robert in Iceland. Now, this is a couple of weeks old, Robert. I'm sorry about this. But as I say, we have fallen a little bit behind with the emails. Dear Chris and friends of United Kingdom Talk. Oh, hang on. No, that's the one I've done. Oh, hang on. Oh, just a minute now. I've got the emails in the wrong way round now. Oh, where is that? That was the one about the elves. Apparently, yes, Robert in Iceland. If you're a new listener or viewer to the show, you won't know that Robert in Iceland has got. I mean, poor old soul. He doesn't live on his own, which surprises me. But he's a little bit loopy, and I shouldn't really say. He believes he's got elves living under the stairs in his house. He lives in Iceland. Yeah, he's Robert. Yeah, Robert if you're in the UK and you don't know this bloke, Robert in Iceland, he's the one who's got all our money. I mean, a lot of people, it's the same with everything, of course. Yeah, a lot of people blame the whole country. It's like the terrorists. A lot of people blame a whole country, but actually it's only the extremists. Yeah, well. Robert is the only extremist in Iceland, and he's the one who's got. It's not everyone else in Ireland. It's not the banks. It's Robert. He's got all our money, and apparently it's being guarded by elves underneath his stairs. Anyway, Robert writes in, Dear Chris and friends of United Kingdom Talk, of which you are one. Yes, absolutely. A most happy new year from. Here we go. From the kingdom of the elves. In a world that can test the best of us, then perhaps we should give thanks for friends and good friends at that. With all the bad news in the world, it would seem that life is just not worth the effort. Nah, it is still a fantastic world. I am minded of the words from the poem Desiderata. Who's that then? Don't start throwing these long words over here. Alas, I'm not sure of the copyright issues on this, but I do recommend it with all my heart. Right, the poem Desiderata. For it is beautiful and educational. At the turn of the year, one needs to know when the passing of time becomes the point at which we face forward and embrace the new armed with the knowledge of one more year. Dear friends, if we can just look to our neighbours, say, is there anything I can do to help? And then, if we do this across the world, then we will have, but in the blink of an eye, done something magical. And we would have created Eden. And what did it cost? A short walk, perhaps? A brief smile? A few words, perhaps? Except there are going to be more than a few numpties out there, but press on. Ask what your God is doing to help. He created you. You are the angels. Bob the Viking. And love to you all from the land of fire and ice. Thank you, Bob. What a nice little email. But I try to smile at people, right? I do smile at people and I talk to them in the street. And they just look at me as if I'm stupid. What's all that about, eh? You can only try your best, dear. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him sit down on a ball. Is there a right expression? I don't know, dear. Right. Thank you. We were just reading one of Suko's emails on the last show, and she gave me the list of places, fast food restaurants that I'd visited last year. And I forgot to mention that last April, I had 4 sausage rolls. She says, no, actually 6 sausage rolls because you had 2 more for breakfast at Sharon's. Last May, I had 8 chocolate marshmallow cakes. And throughout the year, bags and bags of crisps, boxes and boxes of chocolates, meat and cheese pasties. Incorrect there, Suko. I did not have meat pasties. They're cheese and onion pasties, dear. I'm not keen on Cornish pasties, like cheese and onion. She says, to be honest, I might have missed a few, but when I hear McDonald's in particular, I perk up. And as far as that goes, it's only 4 McDonald's stops, so knock yourself out. There we are, so quite pleased about that. Yeah, do you remember last year? I set a limit of only visiting fast food restaurants 10 times, and I managed 5. So I'm very pleased with that. Although I have to say, Suko, on New Year's Day this year, the place where I usually have my little meal before work, when I'm working in Clapham, Jackets, where I have chili con carne on a potato, jacket potato with cheese. It was closed New Year's Day, so I was forced, Suko, forced against my will to go to McDonald's. Okay? So, first day of the new year, and he's gone to McDonald's. I hope that will not be the shape of things to come. We can't be going to McDonald's too much, you know that. Huh? Suko also writes, I love that you love being with your family. Yes, I do. When I go and visit my sister, especially around the Christmas period and at various points throughout the year. I go up there whenever I can fit it in now. She says, I feel that way too about my family. My mother knew I would always try to keep the family together. She was very happy about that. It's a testament to our parents who gave us so much love. My brother, Bruce, is in Tokyo with Mimiko and Keiko, her mother. But I know I've got the pronunciation wrong, Suko. You're gonna have to write these things phonetically because I can't retain all this knowledge, dear. Mimiko and Kiko. Is that how you say it? Her mother. But we talk on Skype frequently. And Christmas Eve, when we have our party, we will have them on Skype joining in the party. They've all been on Skype chatting away. By the way, if you're wondering what Skype is, it's like a free telephone service that's on the internet. You can have video calls and everything. It's very clever. Doesn't always work too well, and I'm just going to come on to that in a minute. It'll be Christmas morning there, so we can watch Mimi open her presents we sent her on the Skype. So did you watch that, Suko? That must have been good. How fantastic, watching someone open the presents that you've seen them. Yeah. My brother Gary will stay over and will also be with us Christmas morning. He loves to be with us. Jade adores him and Bruce too. In fact, Jade loves everyone in her family on both sides, and everyone adores her. It's such a wonderful thing. And Suko sent me some beautiful pictures of Jade. But and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you were walking past or out of a McDonald's, Suko. Is that right, dear? Don't think I didn't notice the very large yellow M in the corner, love. Yes, but Suko, you don't mention who is the boy that is with Jade. Blonde boy with curly hair, around about 14, 15, is he? Who is that with your daughter? And are they, I believe the expression in New York is hanging out. Are they hanging out? And if so, why hasn't Uncle Chris been informed? I can't have your daughter swanning around with young men that I don't even know. Jade hasn't even bothered to email me and request permission to start seeing this boy. Is there something going on there that I need to... Oh, young love. Young hearts, run free. Oh. Is this Jade's boyfriend? And if so, I'm very disappointed that I haven't given my permission for her to go around seeing young men. I mean, he's got to be checked out, Suko. Have you been to the local... I know you've got a special connection in the police force, haven't you, my darling? Has he been checked out? We can't have Jade going out with any old has-been, dear. It's a liberty, that's what it is. OK, looks-wise, he's all right, but I don't know anything about the boy. Honestly. Do you know, I'm just starting to wonder, Suko. You can't wait to get her out of the house, can you? Trying to get her married off so you can have your house to yourself again. Is that what it is, dear? I need more information on this, but it's not good enough, dear. You can't go sending your daughter out with boyfriends that I haven't, what's the word? That I haven't checked out first. It's a liberty, that's what it is. Oh dear. So, oh dear. Thank you very much for that, Suko. By the way, the cough, it may sound bad to you, but actually it's not bad at all. There's no coloured phlegm or anything like that. It just seems to be one of those things which should pass, so the doctor says. Okay, another email. Thank you, Suko, for the emails. But remember, come on, is Jade seeing that boy? It's something I didn't know about. I hope you haven't been telling other people and not me. Huh? I should be very distraught if James Dean suddenly writes to me and said, did you know Jade has a boyfriend? I really will be very unhappy if he hears about things before I do. I mean, I know James Dean, yes, sir. If you're wondering who James Dean is, so does everyone else. He presents a show on another station, or I do a music show, actually, which has been moved. They've moved me to 2 o'clock in the morning. Up north, this is. They must really hate me up there. They hate me. They absolutely hate me. I've been shifted to 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's not a show like this. Nothing like this show. It's a music show. And all I do is say hello at the beginning. I run down the list of tunes and I say goodbye at the end. And that's it. That's all I do. And then in between is just like one long music thing that I've created in one of the clubs that I work at. Okay, so I mean, it's not a lot of chat. Nothing like this show. But nevertheless, they've moved me to 2 o'clock in the blooming morning. They really hate me there. They hate me. They hate me. I've got a good mind to just go on the bridge and chuck myself off. Really have. Anyway, so James Dean does a show on this programme. He does the matinee show. It's got a website, matineeshow.co.uk. There's him and Madam Aries. But I have noticed since the popularity of that show, he has started to get a bit up himself, you know. Oh, yeah. And he loves the celebrities. I shouldn't really say this to you. You see, James Dean strikes me as the sort of person that as a more important celebrity, if he knows you as a celebrity, okay, if someone sort of a little bit more up the celebrity ladder comes along and becomes friends with him, he will drop the one before. That's the opinion I've got of him. I honestly don't know why, after all these years, he's continued talking to me, because I am at the bottom I'm not even on the celebrity ladder. Let's be honest with this. I'm in the gutter. And quite frankly, that's where I like to be. Stuck in the gutter with the rest of the trash. That's where I am happiest, believe me. Anyway, I was just going to mention about the Skype thing. Now, you may remember a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I was going to be in a radio pantomime. Well, I was. I didn't have a very big part in it, only a couple of lines. But nevertheless, I did the radio pantomime, and I had intended to play out the whole pantomime, which was only about 10 minutes long, on this show. But unfortunately, that was all created by James, and he did a good job there. But unfortunately, I found the quality of some of the stuff that he'd used Skype with. So, how can I explain this? It's a bit like having a bad phone line. Now, some of the show that he created was made with this bad phone line. And after I listened back to it, I really wasn't happy with the quality of it. So, not going to play it, okay? Sorry about that. But one thing myself and Ross Patzelt as well. You know Ross Patzelt? rosspatzelt.co.uk. He does a podcast as well. And he's always concerned about the quality, the sound quality of the programme. Well, I am too. And I listened to it, and I actually found it quite difficult to hear and understand the beginning of the pantomime, so I've decided not to play it. So sorry about that. Hope you're not too disappointed, but I only had a couple of lines anyway, dear. That's all I had, 2 lines. Okay, Chris at United Kingdom Talk. .co.uk. That's the email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Susan, our cat lover, I have to tell you, my darling, your little packages have still not arrived. I'm starting to get a little bit concerned because I think you sent them 2 weeks ago now, didn't you? But maybe they'll still come. I just thought you ought to know that, my darling. I don't know if you can do tracking or something like that, but I thought you might want to know. Right, let's say hello. We don't know who this is, actually. The name I've got here, it says Sweet Tea for You. Okay, it's like a username on the Live 365 network. And the message says, one of your Live 365 listeners has sent you a message from your station page. You are such a hoot. Just discovered your radio show today. Too bad about you being into guys. I prefer them too. Such is life. Thank you very much. That's obviously from a young lady. Sweet. Excuse me. Sweet tea for you. So thank you for that one, my love. Oh, we love it, don't we? We love it. Oh, look, here we go. We have an email from His Very Royal Highness, Ross Patzelt. Remember his podcast? You can find that at Ross Patzelt, Patzelt, rosspatzelt.co.uk, all right? And he says, on the subject of burglaries on your December the 23rd show, I couldn't believe your story of when the children were watching television and they got burgled while they were watching television. Yeah. I don't know if you didn't hear that story. Basically, this happened in opposite the West 5 where I do the bingo on Tuesday night. The reason they saw it is because they just happened to have a security camera pointing in that area. And basically, there were a couple of children sitting at home watching one of those great big television, you know, the LCD television sets. And a car pulled up with 2 or 3 men in it. They literally smashed through the front window of the house, walked into the living room, picked up the large telly, put it in the car and drove off. Really? In the middle of the afternoon. I mean, it's scary, isn't it? Scary that people would actually do that in the middle of the day. But you see, the trouble is, a lot of these people, they're all druggies. And they do anything to get their money. Anything to get their money for their next lot of drugs. I'm afraid. Ross says, if anyone entered my house without permission, I would make sure they did not leave walking. Your problem there is, Ross, that I think the police and the courts are not on your side, okay? If a burglar broke into my house or my garden, and I don't know what the rules are like in the States, okay? And they just happened to step on perhaps one of those leaf, what do they call it? A rake. If they stepped on a rake and knocked themselves out, they could sue me for leaving the rake in the garden. And it's wrong. We've all seen these stories in the paper, and I brought this up on the show a few times now. Okay? If you hurt a burglar, they can sue you. It's wrong. It's totally wrong. As far as I'm concerned, I think, Ross, and I think you agree with me here, if a burglar broke into my house and I killed him, I think that should be allowed. I doubt that I would be able to kill anyone, to be honest. But if there was perhaps, I don't know, an electric fence on the inside or something like that, or something that would do a lot of damage to a burglar, you know, if there was one coming up the stairs, okay? There's one coming up the stairs, and I stood at the top of the stairs, hiding, and then whacked him over the head with one of those metal torches or something like that, and he fell down the stairs and died, then I'm afraid my opinion of that is good. Of course, I'd be taken to court and thrown in prison then for murder. But if they're in my house, why shouldn't I be allowed to do that to protect my belongings? There's too much in the hands of the criminals here, you know? It's wrong, wrong, wrong. And I entirely agree with you, Ross. If someone enters your house and is in your house, you should be able to do anything that you want to protect yourself and indeed your property. I do believe in the courts that they do allow, do allow you to do anything within, I think the term they use is within reason. I mean, what's within reason? If you're in your house, someone's coming to you, okay, maybe you cannot see a gun or a knife, but how do you know what he's got in his pocket? Do you say, oh, could you show me what's in your pocket before I stab you in the face? Do you see the stupidity of it all? You don't know. I mean, another subject, a similar subject, Ross, is that business with the guy who was shot on the London Underground. Was it last year? Or it might have been a little bit longer than that. I can't remember now. Charles de Menezes, wasn't it? Who was shot by the police. Very difficult. I wouldn't like to be part of the court team who had to decide what happened there. This guy got shot because they thought he was a terrorist. Now, they got it wrong. He wasn't a terrorist. Nevertheless, if... and we're not sure of the whole true story, are we? If you was a policeman and you thought this bloke was about to blow up a number of people on the tube train, what would you do? Would you take the risk and leave him there? It's a terrible tragedy that bloke got shot. But if you thought you were the one about to get hurt, what would you do? I don't see... And it's like these people in war zones. It's like the people in war zones. And you get soldiers who are at war and shoot someone and then are taken to court saying, why did you shoot him? Because they thought they were going to be in danger. And it's a bit too much of this going on at the moment. It's ridiculous. But yes, Ross, I absolutely agree that you should be able to protect your own property. Absolutely. I mean, if we've got a few burglars coming into people's houses, getting pushed downstairs and killed and what have you, then if you ask me, all the good. All the good, because that's another nasty, thieving burglar off our streets. One less druggie to deal with. You might think that's a bit hard. What's the alternative? Leave your door open. Leave your door open. Let them come in and help themselves. Is that what you want? I get sick to death of these do-gooders. Oh, you've got to sit down and talk to them. No, you haven't. Get them off the streets. Ah, well, you got me there, haven't you? You got me going there, Ross. Ross says, people who steal like this make me sick. And I think you have every right to do with them as you please if you catch them trying to steal from your home. What are your thoughts? There are my thoughts. If it was down to me, I'd say stand at the top of the stairs with a rolling pin and bash them on the head so that they fall down the stairs dead and that they won't burgle from anyone else. Of course, Ross, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're allowed to take so much action, okay? But we're not quite sure how much, are we? Watch out for another few stories in the paper this year, no doubt, of people who have broken into people's houses, got hurt, and then sued the homeowner. That is so wrong, it makes me mad. It really does. Thank you, Ross. He's a hard man, Ross. You really are. Thank you, Ross. Any thoughts on that? Let us know, okay? Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Got to say thank you very much to Julian And Romy, you remember our Argentinian friends who recently, in the last year, moved here to the UK and are rather successful. You're doing quite well. And they sent me a lovely picture of themselves around the Christmas period, standing on Westminster Bridge in front of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament and the river. So really lovely to see you two, because they've must be coming. When's your year's anniversary? Because you've been married now about 9 months. I think you've been married about 9 months and they now live here in the UK. So thank you to Julian and Romney for the picture there, okay? Another one here from Suko, who says, I love the show with your new co-host, the adorable Joy. Well, she's not a new co-host, Suko. She is a regular many, many times throughout the year. We dip in and out of Joy's life, don't we, eh? She says, I love the co-host with the adorable. Who better than me, of course, she says. You should let the listeners know that the matinee would not release me to co-host. Oh, did I ask you, Suko? Did I ask you to co-host? So Joy was the next best thing. I beg your pardon. Joy was number one. So I'm sorry to have to tell you this, Suko dear. Joy was the number one choice, love. She is there at number one. Britain's number one. Yes. Joy is the true meaning of superstar. She absolutely is. You're quite right there, Suko. Joy is the meaning of superstar. And about that comment from the fellow in the car to her, here's one that happened to me. I was walking down... And about that comment from the fellow in the car... Oh, yes! Yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, Joy is 80-something, okay? Joy is 80-something. And she was outside the house, I remember this now, was outside the house a couple of weeks ago, and someone wolf whistled, like that. And Joy looked round, and this bloke looked at her and said, in your dreams, darling, what a cheek. I think Joy, it was in his dreams, you wouldn't even look at him, would you, dear? I never get wolf whistled, Joy. Do you think it'll happen to me if I walk past a building site? All these blokes will whistle as I walk past. Maybe I need to put a wig on. Huh? Suko says, I was walking down the street wearing a skirt knee length, not mini by any means, and a young 20-ish guy walks past and says, not bad for an old broad. Is that what he said? Hit him, Suko. Hit him, dear. And then you can be sued like the burglars. Talk about backhanded compliments. Joy, if we had gotten those comments years ago, we would have been shattered. But at this stage of the game, we can just laugh it off. Besides, we have the cutest guy who admires us for all our inner beauty. James Dean. I beg your pardon? I don't know why you just don't all move over to James Dean and live. I'm quite happy sitting here chatting to myself. Doesn't bother me, dear. And you thought I meant you, Chris. No, I didn't, not at all. I know what you're like now, Suko. You're getting very, very bitter and twisted in your old age, Suko. I mean, I've got to be honest, if you'd have walked past me, I wouldn't have whistled at your legs. I'm sorry, not yours. Jerry's perhaps, but not yours. Happy and healthy New Year to all my Reardon town pals from Suko. Thank you, Suko. Let's give out the email address again, guys. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Our Tasmanian Devil. It's Matty, who says, I liked the Christmas decorations on the show and also the graphics of the pretty Christmas colours. I also loved your show on Saturday, the 20th of December. It was pretty. How did you do it? Like you had snowing on the camera. Oh, you noticed that? You're the only one who commented on that, Matty. I'm rather disappointed to say. Yeah. On the video to the Saturday, the 20th of December, there were little stars that now and again flashed on the video show. That was a computer program, okay? It's just puts little flashes of stars. I actually meant to do that throughout all the Christmas shows, but I forgot. I only did that one in the end. Matty says, I also enjoyed watching the pictures of Bracknell Shopping Centre that you had filmed in Royal Berkshire, where King Chris Reardon sits. I don't know if I'm a king, dear. As I said, I'm not royalty. I'm a gutter person. Matty has also been cooking. He's learning to cook at the moment. His mum's teaching him. And he made a chocolate ripple cake. Oh, I like the sound of that. A chocolate ripple cake. Because Matty hasn't been with us for a while, you may have noticed. He's had trouble with his internet connection. It's been very, very slow. So he's got some of the old shows to catch up on, haven't you, Matty? So thanks very much for that. Let's say hi. Now, I don't have a name for this one. It's one of the YouTube people who watch the show on the video. It says, love it, I'm from London, and I watch this every day. You are funny how you talk and talk and talk and talk. I've hardly said a word, dear. What are you talking about now, love? I barely say a word. I'm just trying to fill in the gaps to my sad, lonely, pathetic life with speech. That's what I do. You just talk about anything. That's what makes it so funny. So keep on going for all to see and have fun. So thank you very much for that. No name on that one. It might be Elijah. Could be Elijah. I'm not sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, look who it is. It's our little lady, Millie. Millie in Minnesota. And I've been talking to Millie, and we are going to get her on the show at some time. Millie doesn't mind me telling you that she is in a wheelchair. She's got various little bits and pieces not quite functioning properly, have you, my darling? And we're going to get Millie on the show in the next few weeks, and we'll have a look at life from the wheelchair. Okay? Millie also has a wicked sense of humour. And I reckon, I haven't actually spoken to you about this, Millie, but I reckon you'll probably sit there and take the Michael out yourself. I've got a feeling you're a little bit like me like that. I'm quite happy to rip into myself left, right and centre, as you know. I reckon you're a bit like that, so it'd be very interesting to hear Millie's views on, shall we say, the people who can walk and our lives. Yeah? All right, Millie? And she writes here, I've got a few emails from Millie here. Katie, my little Katie, is one gorgeous cat. She's seen pictures of Katie on my Facebook and things like that. Oh, incidentally, I've changed my Facebook picture. Now, if you want to become one of my Facebook friends, you'll get updates to the show whenever there's a new show out. Then I always put it up on the Facebook. Just type in Chris Reardon, Reardon. Okay, Chris Reardon, London. And you'll see me standing there in my new white Lonsdale top, which I purchased for just £9. Oh, yeah, I find the bargains, dear. From my favourite sports shop, or is it Sports Direct or Sports World or something like that it is. So I've got my new white top on, all right? Once again, my Facebook name is Chris Reardon, London. And Millie says, yeah, she likes Katie, my cat. Oh, she says, and such a sweetheart as well. Well, she is. She's a lovely cat. I hope we can see more of her. As far as the minor disasters, I feel for you. I've had days like those, and those stink worse than the stinkiest stink on the planet. I hope the rest of your days go better. Thank you, Millie. Yeah, Katie's doing all right. Tiny, on the other hand, well, she's still with us. But I've noticed she is getting slower and slower now. Our friend Susan often writes in with bits of advice. Susan, but in all honesty, I think I have a feeling Tiny's not going to be with me much longer. The other day, it's been very cold here. It's actually not too bad today at all. It's been quite warm. The weather has warmed up at last. The frozen ground has now gone. We haven't got any frost on the ground anymore. But Tiny, as you know, she's got her own little shed in the garden. It's got a heater in it, nice warm bed. I put the food in there. She's barely eating a thing now. She seems to be very thin, apart from all the fur. She's got a lot of fur. She's drinking a lot of water. But the other day, it was a cold day, and I went into the shed and she weren't anywhere to be seen. And I thought, well, why isn't she in? It's free. It was freezing cold. And I found her just sitting behind a bush in the garden. I called her and she barely even moved. People get old and animals get old, and I suppose we have to expect this thing. So hopefully she carry on. Hope she carries on. But I just get, you get a feeling. You get a feeling. Millie also writes, hope you had a lovely Christmas and that Father Christmas was good to you. As for me, I spent Christmas sick with a nasty stomach bug and I still have it. Yuck. Oh, that's horrible, Millie. When you next speak with Joy, please tell her that Millie sends her a big cuddle and lots of love from Minnesota. I love listening to Joy's stories and I think she's a sweetheart. Isn't that nice? All right, Joy, a little message all the way from Millie. So they all know you, Joy. Minnesota. I thought I was well known, but they all seem to know you more, dear. It's horrible being ill over Christmas, isn't it, Millie? Oh, I mean, I've had this throat problem now for quite a number of weeks, and really that was over the Christmas period as well. But I think when I was with my sister and her children, talking to them a lot, it does help. It does help and takes your mind off things when you've got children and what have you to talk to or play with or something like that, doesn't it, eh? Millie also says, let me start off by apologising. I can almost hear you why on earth I would feel the need to apologise. Well, when you read out my email a few shows back, I could tell I touched a raw nerve and may have upset you without meaning to. Oh, you didn't upset me at all, Millie. She says, I'm so sorry if I upset you. I never want to hurt or upset anyone, my friends least of all, but sometimes I don't always think before I open this big gob of mine that gets me into trouble. I'll try and choose my words more carefully next time. Oh no, that must have been when we were talking about finding someone to share our lives with. Was that was it? Was it? And when I burst into tears. No, it's don't take everything to as it is, sort of thing. A lot of that is just for the show. I can do it now if you want. So I'm sitting here all alone once again. You see? Actually, look, there's no tears. Don't worry, Millie. Don't worry about that, my darling, at all. Now, Millie says it was okay to read out this part of it. I've reached the same conclusion you have when it comes to finding someone. People either won't look past my motorised wheelchair or they want only one thing. I don't have to tell you what that is, and I'm not like that. Or even worse, they are ignorant enough to assume that just because my legs don't work, neither does anything else. Sorry for the minor rant, but that really gets me angry. The point is, I'm done looking too. I'm sick of having my heart stomped on all the time. I've rambled on enough for now. Sorry about that. See you on the next show. Well, Millie, as I said, I think you're one of these people who, perhaps a little bit like me, hide behind a smile. And I try and turn things around to be funny. That's how I deal with some things that perhaps upset me sometimes. And I try and turn other people's heads away from it as well. And, for example, reading your letter here, people won't look past my motorised wheelchair. Now, I reckon, Millie, what it is, I don't think that's the problem at all. I think you're going too fast, darling. I think probably when you're in shopping malls, you see, I know the term malls. When you're in shopping malls, looking for malls, I reckon you're going so fast in that blooming motorised wheelchair of yours that the blokes can't get hold of you, dear. You've got to slow down. There ought to be a speed limit for these motorised wheelchairs, you know. You're probably going, whoosh, the blokes go, oh, who was that? What? Like that. Is that right, Millie? You're going too fast here. That's why you can't get anyone, love. Slow down. Thank you, Millie. I love you, darling. I love you. One more from Millie here. I too get fed up with always having to call people but never receiving phone calls. You remember that on a previous show? You know? And there'll be a few of you out there who always seem to make the phone calls but never get any phone calls back. I'm one of them as well. I stopped ringing them eventually. Millie gets fed up with it as well. never receiving phone calls from those same people that I call, and have done as you have and eventually cut them off. Not only is it rude not to return calls, but I actually find it quite hurtful. Yes, I do too. I get fed up with it. Making that phone call all the time. Always making the phone calls. I'll ring you back and they don't bother ringing back. It's not just hurtful. It's downright rude. It's downright rude, Millie. It really is. And you and I are not like that. We return our phone calls. Now, she notices, on another note, I notice your birthday is coming up in a month. Yes, it is. 5th of February. I should be 46. She says, I also know that you're not one for anything too extravagant. No, I'm not actually, or anything like that. But I would like to send you a little gift. Just to say when I need some ideas of what you would like. T-shirts or mugs. Oh, I don't know, Millie. I don't know. Anything is nice. You don't have to send anything. Really. You don't have to send anything. Make something. There you go, Mill. Make me something. How about homemade birthday card? That would be nice. All right? Please tell your friend I'm praying for her. Oh, yes, my friend. Remember I told you the one who's had the cancer scare? Good news. She rang me literally 2 hours ago and told me it's not cancer. What it is a collection of dead cells or something that they found. But it's benign. So good news, my friend hasn't got cancer after all. Yeah, so that's a nice note to finish on today. One more quick email from Victor. Hello, Victor. Hi, Chris. Happy New Year to you. All the best from Victor. I don't know where you are, Victor. Write back and let us know. Right, now I'm still holding on to a pile of emails. Some from Australia, from CW, Matthew, loads here. We'll get them on the next show. Chris at UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk is my email address. Thanks for watching and listening to the show. See you on the next one. From myself, Chris Reardon. Bye-bye now.